learn together, pass together, grow together. So, what now? Here is the thing that a lot of people get to this point in networking and think, cool, I know what is router, I know what is switch, I know what a wireless access point does. Now, where the real stuff? But honestly, this is the real stuff. Not because you learned every advanced concept yet, you definitely have not, but because have the glue that holds the whole design together, and that matters way more than people realize. When I look at where we are right now, I don't see a bunch of disconnected definition. I see the beginning of understanding how an actual network gets built in the real world. Right, we have been feeling in or the crack that something like an RFP, a request for proposal, would never fully spell out for you. Those documents tell you what needs to happen, but they rarely tell you all the little technical truth you need to know in order to actually make it happen. So that's the big win. That's the big win of this lesson series so far. If I am reading through the Castle Ryzen project requirements and I see something about understanding the organization's network needs, I'm no longer reading that like it's a work corporate fluff. I'm immediately thinking, okay, how many users are we supporting? How many devices need to connect? How large do the switches need to be? How many ports do I need? How many wireless points should cover that area? You see what happened there? Okay, that one line in an RFP, which is request for purpose, suddenly turns into a dozen practical design decisions. And that's what I wanted you to see. Networking isn't just memorizing devices name, it's understanding how business requirements translate into hardware choices, physical layout, and ultimately a design that works. So I hope you don't need or don't read through those requirements now and think they are mysterious anymore. They are still broad, sure, but now you have got enough vocabulary and context to start decoding them. That's a massive step. So the another huge part of this is the language. When an RFP talks about configuring network devices, that's no longer some foggy phrases floating in the air. Now we are talking about routers, switches, and wireless access point, the actual building blocks of the network. That means when you read the requirements, you are not translating from business speak into tech speak from scratch anymore. You have already started building that bridge, and that's important because networking is full of terminology, and that can make you feel like everyone else got the memo except you. I have been there. You read terms like devices configuration, infrastructure requirements, coverage zones, and connectivity standards, and your brain starts going, okay, I think I know what that means. And now you are getting to the point where you do know what it means, or at least you know enough to ask the right question. That's the key. Okay, now you might be thinking that wait, what about the VLANs, trunk ports, ether channels? Totally fair. Those are real networking concept. And yes, they matter, especially if you are heading towards your CCNA, Cisco entry level networking certification. But those topics usually aren't called out directly in an RFP, even though they may absolutely show up in the actual implementation. So if you don't see terms yet, don't panic. We are not skipping them because they are unimportant. We are just layering this the right way. First, I want you to understand the structure, the purpose, and the language of the network. Then we go deeper into the mechanism that makes it all work. That's how actually this stuff actually sticks, right. If I dump every advanced term on you too early, it turns into a travesty. You might memorize a few definitions, but you won't really see how the pieces fit together. I had much rather build this in a way that feels solid. Okay, so let me put this all together with our example shop, because that's where that this becomes real. If I am planning out a new shop location, I'm not just asking whether I need network equipment. I'm asking how many points of sale system we have, where the cameras go, where guest Wi-Fi needs to be isolated, how many employees need coverage in the back office, and what kind of internet handoff the provider gives me. Same networking concept, same thought process. That's why this foundation matters. Uh, Example shop, a castle, a corporate office, it doesn't matter. Once you understand the devices, the roles they play, and how requirements drive design, you can walk into almost any scenario and start making sense of it. Not perfectly, not instantly, but confidently. And confidence is networking usually doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from knowing how to think about the problem. Okay?